Good day, Andrew. Good day, Natalie. Good day, Nathan. Good day, Lydia and Mason. Good day, Bella. Good day, Chloe Blake, and everyone else who is with us today. We are looking at this particular picture today when we're going to be studying our vocabulary words and a little bit about, all about art before we get into our project. And this particular picture is called Praying Hands, and it was painted by a German painter named Albrecht Durer. Okay, so Albrecht looked like this when he was 24. He drew this when he was 24 of himself. And so that is who painted this particular picture, Albrecht. And he painted this interesting picture of praying hands, which we're going to talk about. Now, as we go through this and look at this particular picture, remember we're studying the elements of art. We've gone through some. We've gone through the element of line, the element of shape, the element of color, the element of space, and we're going to be introducing today the element of value and the element of texture. So I'm going to put this chart over here to the side as we're going to go down through these elements of art, and we're going to look at this picture for each and every one. We're going to start with the element of a line. Remember, lines are vertical, they are horizontal, they are diagonal, and then you have your curlies and your squigglies and your zigzags and all of that. As we look at the picture right here in front of us today, what do we see? It's very interesting, the lines we see, and diagonal is going to be the one we're going to focus on. But as we look at this, there is no vertical lines. There's no horizontal lines. And even diagonal, there's no diagonal lines. You have your curves. You have a lot of curves going on here. You've got a lot of squiggles and various things of that nature. What we're going to look at with diagonal is that the direction of the hands is on a diagonal. Okay, and that's pretty much all we can say as far as that goes. All right, so now the next one is the element of shape. Again, this picture is a little bit interesting for us. We're going to look at organic shapes. Organic shapes are circles or ovals or just free-flowing shapes. The squares and rectangles and triangles, those are the geometric, and we don't have any of those in this particular picture. The shapes that we have in here are the organic kind, and we can see just some interesting shapes. There is the circle sort of in the knuckles. I see some shapes here, just like I have in mine hand here in between the veins. There is some shapes, and in between his veins, there is some shapes going on there. There is a shape they're all organic. They're all just sort of flowing. And so there's nothing specific when we're talking about shapes as far as there's a circle. No, we are not going to see those. We're just going to see, well, that's not quite a square because it's not quite going in 90-degree angles, etc. So now we're going to look at color. Remember, color is a reflection of light off of an object. We have studied the color wheel because it helps us to organize our colors. We've studied the primary colors, which are, tell me, red, yellow, blue, very good. And then there's secondary colors and other colors, and we'll look at all of that again later. This particular picture is interesting because there is not different colors. We can't say, oh, there's a blue and there's a green and there's a red. It is pretty much all one color, except for there's white and there's black as well. This is one color painting. It's a cake painting that is blue, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We're looking at the element of space next. All right, space is how things are positioned on the paper. The hands are a little to one side, and that makes it interesting. But what we have studied is the words background and foreground. All right, so as we look at that, what's in the foreground but the hands? The hands are the first thing that we see. The hands are in the foreground, and there is a background because those hands are up against a blue background. Blue hands against a blue background. Okay, so the next one, we're going to introduce the element of value. Value is interesting, and you've probably seen things like this when you go to the hardware store looking for some paint for the house. You've seen those different things with the different value of paints. This side there's more white in it, and this side there's no more black in it, but the value changes up and down, and there's words that help you to learn those things, and we'll study those later. So we're looking at the value of blue today because there's different hues, shades, tints of blue. The value changes. You have lighter blues and you have darker blues, and so that's the value. And this picture, we're going to look at the word that I wanted to introduce to you right now. It's called monochromatic, and that's when a picture has all of the values of one color. This picture's values are this sort of tealish color, okay? It goes from really dark to really light, and it has some whites in it. This one is with the blues, and it goes from really dark to really light, and it's the values of blue. So monochromatic is the word that we're looking at. Everybody say it with me. Monochromatic. Very good. One other thing I wanted to introduce is the element of texture, because this particular one is, I think it shows it really well. What is texture? Texture is how something feels, okay? So how do my clothes feel? How does my skin feel, okay? How does the paper feel? We are not going to be able to feel this particular picture, but the way that it has been, the skin is sort of rough. The clothes have a texture to it, and so that's what we're looking at in this particular picture. So we're going to be looking at monochromatic, say that again, monochromatic. Here is a picture that is monochromatic. It's done in 4 different mediums. It's done in the medium of color pencil, marker, watercolor, and also tempera paint. So 4 different mediums we're going to be doing this particular thing in, but it's monochromatic. It's all blue. There's some white in it because you see white that hasn't been painted, okay, and so, or colored, so there's some white coming through, but it's all the color of blue. Now you can choose whatever color you want. I chose blue because I had it available. I already had it going when I was making it before this one here so that you could see it. So anyway, monochromatic is what we're doing. We're doing this particular project. There is a template to make the heart, and you will see that online, and I hope you enjoy the project. Okay, everybody. The project, we need to have a white piece of paper, but don't forget to have your messy mat. Okay. Now, this is just a plain piece of paper so you can see how to start it, and then I am going to show it to you on another piece of paper, more art paper. You want to have a heart template. There's going to be a link to that in the thing that online so that you can see. Otherwise, you can just go and get super huge heart. And like I said, this particular paper here is smaller than what you would use, hopefully. But just take that heart and trace around it, okay? And of course, we're wanting to trace a heart shape onto the picture. And then we're going to need to have a ruler, all right? A ruler, because we want to have semi-straight lines. This was the second. This is the first. Notice that the first one that I did, my squares or shapes were smaller. That means more work on my part. I had to make sure that they stayed in the small lines. The next one I did, I made them a little bit bigger. It still looks awesome, but it's much easier to deal with bigger lines. And I did 5 on each side. So this is a small piece, and I'm just showing you the process here because I messed up in my videoing, so I'm having to do it all again to show you how to do this. So maybe about 5 lines across, 4 lines across. And notice I did not do them straight. I did them a little bit crooked. It gives it some, a little interest to it. All right, and so here we go down, maybe about 5 lines down. That'll give just a right size. Ooh, now that's a small little one, but we can handle it. We can do it. All right. So that gives you the whole picture that you're going to be doing. And like I said, the one that I did is on a bigger piece of paper, but that's okay. The next thing that I did is I went over the heart with a dark blue. Remember, we're monochromatic, and so we're going to do everything in blue. This dark blue almost looks purple, but that's okay. Why I did that is because I wanted to make sure I knew where to stop. Okay, I had to know where to stop on this whole picture. I didn't want to accidentally go off into the other ones. Inside, we're going to be using color pencil and we're going to be using marker. That one died on me. So we're going to use color pencil and marker, and we're going to do a pattern. We're going to do every other. Okay, so I'm going to start my pattern right smack here in the middle on this particular one. I'm going to show you on another and talk over what I did. But we're going to go white, and then we're going to do this one is going to be blue, and I want to go as close to the edge of the lines as I can, so I'm going to go boom, 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 and on this side, boom, 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 boom. I might go a little bit on the up and down, but I want to try and keep it as vertical as possible, and I would like to have the least amount of white as possible too, because then I think that's going to just look the nicest. White, blue, white, and then a blue. All right, and then I'm going to go and do that one all in that color. And when I get to, I'm going to just do this one halfway so that I can keep going with you. When I go to my next line, whether it's down or up, I need to go the opposite of what I did. So here, so I want to have white underneath it. So on this side over here, I'm going to be doing blue. Okay, go all the way on the side. Try and get as much of the white colored in as possible. Don't go over the heart. And then I'm going to skip this white and go right here. And so you can see a pattern going on. All right, this is all going to be blue. Go real fast with this, and then I'm going to go back and we're going to make sure that it's all colored in. And I'll show you the whole process in another video. All right. There you have the process, and we start with the color pencil, and then the marker, and then we're going to go to the color pencil. Okay, so this is the project that I was working on the mixed media paper. And remember I said that we were going to start with our blue marker. And I'm going down every other one and making sure that we got our lines going back and forth straight. When I first started, I said I was going to go real fast because I just wanted to get that process in, because I messed up and I pushed record in the wrong spots. So you're getting to see this whole thing that I'm doing right here. All right, we're getting to a point here shortly where my marker is about to die, and so I went and had to get another marker, but it was still the same blue, and we're going to go through and do it all, each and every one of the squares. Okay, so I started coloring with the color pencil, okay, and I'm still going horizontal as I'm going through this, and so that all of the lines are going in the same direction. It makes it look a little bit nicer rather than going all over the place. So every one of those squares are inside the heart are now going to be with a colored pencil. The ones that are big and the ones that are little. And so because you have the marker right there, you can go pretty fast because the marker stops your color pencil. So I'm almost done. I've got one more square and then we'll move on. There we go. So a little bit more. Done. All right, here we started with the watercolor. And again, we're doing every other. And if you start on the top or the bottom, you can go all the way across, and then you just use your pattern to go every other down as well. And you should be able to get it without a problem. Don't forget to wake up your brush, wakey wakey, and the 3 different parts of your brush, the ferrule, and the handle. And the ferrule is also called the danger zone. We don't want to put our hands down there, but just keep going at this every other. And if as you're going you say, oh no, I messed up, oops, and you paint the wrong one, don't worry about it, because you can go over that with the tempera when we do the tempera in just a minute. So it's no big deal. Notice that I am also going mostly horizontally as I go doing each of the squares back and forth. And there, I needed a little bit more, so I just painted the whole thing one more time. So there's one more square after this one, and then we're going to go on to the tempera paint. You see how it's looking so neat already? All right, I hope you're having fun with this too. All right, there we go. Now we're going to move on to the tempera. I needed something to put my tempera paint in, so I just used my spoon cup. Oh my goodness. So I'll wash it off. I will in just a minute. So back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We're going horizontal again. It's a nice bright color. That's what we have going on with this tempera paint. And this part is really the easiest because you don't have to think about it. You've done every other square already. And so now all you have to do is fill in the white squares with your tempera paint. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we will be done here in just a minute. So here you have the final product. Every other is the pattern. Remember the word? Monochromatic. That's the word. Enjoy. See you next time.